everyone, it's Raina. So this video is for those people who are Scorpio, Sun, or Moon involved with a Capricorn, Sun or Moon. You know, either either variety. And how they match up when it comes to love. Now, the reason I'm including the moon signs is because it is going to be kind of similar in how it expresses itself. So initially I was just going to limit it to the sun signs, but I decided to make it more open because sometimes you'll see a lot of similarities. And yes, the rising sign, some people ask about that. And the rising sign may also show up, or even the Venus sign sometimes, because that can be the attitude towards love, and the rising sign can be part of the personality. But I feel like the sun and the moon are very big influences overall. And sometimes the moon sign is more of the personality in a lot of ways. And the sun sign might be what the person is interested in and what they want to evolve into. But the moon sign is that personality, those traits that, you know, people come into this life with. So we've got Scorpio, a water sign, and Capricorn, an earth sign. And Capricorn is the last earth sign. Scorpio is the middle water sign. Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So all three of those planets I've just mentioned are planets that are considered rather challenging when it comes to how they affect us. So what does that mean when it comes to this combination? It means that these people are not necessarily warm and fuzzy. Now, again, I'm looking at the templates of what each sign represents. If the Capricorn person has a moon in, Leo, they're going to be a lot more playful. There's going to be a lot more, maybe a lot more emotionally expressive and things like that. If the Scorpio person has a moon in Aquarius, they could be quite cerebral and even come across as rather emotionally detached. So it's not going to be just a concrete thing with an individual, but when we're looking at this, we're pretending that there are no other factors involved. And just simply looking at it from that standpoint, both of these are hardcore signs because of their rulers. Their rulers are not like Venus and Jupiter, where they, exert influences that are, mostly benign. These can be mostly challenging, mostly fierce. When I think of Scorpio, I think of kind of a fierce nature. And when I think of Capricorn, I think of the stiff upper lip, the person that tries to kind of just like, pull up their big girl panties and deal with life, They're not, neither of these signs, seems like they're party signs, that they seem very serious, So anyway, what do these two signs have in common that might make it work out? Both are on the same page in life domestically, meaning that they're both feminine signs. So there can be this sense of wanting to maybe be homebodies, enjoy the home, enjoy the family. Both are family oriented. I would say, no, I think both are. I was going to try to say which one is more likely to be that way. That's a hard thing to say, because I was going to say Capricorn, because Capricorn rules the father. And I always think Scorpio sometimes is a wild card. There might be, I think of Scorpios as rebellious and extreme. And extreme from Pluto, rebellious from Aries. I mean, from Mars, the two rulers. So I think sometimes Scorpios can just say screw you to their family of origin if they feel that it is not what it should be. I think Scorpio is the kind of sign that really believes there are certain things that you are supposed to do as a parent. I actually had a friend who was a triple Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. And I remember them really encouraging the person that they were, interested in romantically to take, to make sure that they were seeing their child. That was something that was very important to them. So I think both of these signs are very into the idea of family. And, I was going to say obligations because I think of Capricorn as dutiful. But Scorpio, maybe it's that loyalty thing, that fixed sign thing. Of being loyal, but just kind of steadfast. I think that's a good way of putting it. So the reason that this is important, that they're both domestically inclined, is that let's say the Capricorn is sweet on an Aries person. That Aries person may be away from home more than they're at home. They may just use home as a place to sleep. Or they may, hang out on the weekend, but in general, they're gone a lot. And they like it that way. I'm not saying all Aries people are going to act like this, but this could be, because Aries is a masculine sign, and they just tend to be more extroverted, more into the world, and blah, blah, blah. These, feminine signs are more introverted. If they have friendships, they may be friends from when they were kids. They may be like a very small, intimate circle of friends instead of like, oh, I'm always collecting new people in my life. They may not like to do that. And so when they entertain, they may entertain the same crowd or their family. And they might not like to go to, places that are very loud and boisterous. They may prefer to have, do things fun at home. And if, let's say, the Scorpio person's with a Leo, and that Leo person likes to go out on the town all the time, that Scorpio person may get, really irritated by that eventually, because they're, that's just not their thing necessarily. So having that same kind of temperament when it comes to the domestic scene is good. Also, the money matters are on point. Scorpio rules the 8th house, which in part is a money house. It's shared resources. So Scorpios tend to be interested in money. I would say because it's an avenue to gain power. And they may feel this sense of money has a purpose, and not that they're spendthrifts by any stretch of the imagination. I think that's one of the other things too, is that they're on the same page with, saving money, being frugal, respecting money. And I think that can be a really important thing that they have in common. A lot of people can fight about money, and that can doom the relationship. So if you have the same philosophy about money, that can be a very valuable thing. I put down ambitious. I remember reading someplace that Scorpios tend to like powerful people, and it's probably because of Pluto, because Pluto is connected to power. And just observing people that I know who are Scorpios, I noticed that they tended, it was almost like, but sometimes, because I know somebody who also has Capricorn, and that can be the person who values status, the pecking order, the food chain in society, and where somebody is at. Capricorn rules the 10th house of career, and Capricorn is the mountain goat that's always climbing, ascending, is always going further up that mountain. And because of that, that can lead to somebody who really values a partner who's going to support them in their ambitions. Some people thwart their partner because they feel like, oh, this person's getting ahead of me. They're jealous of that person's success. And so they, instead of supporting it, they try to sabotage it. Some people are it's just, I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is that there's a tendency for some people to not receive that support from their significant other. And there can be many reasons for that. But with Scorpio, the Capricorn person has a cheerleader, because the Scorpio person wants a partner who is successful or powerful in their own way. So they're not going to discourage them from that. And the same goes true for Capricorn. They might want their partner to be successful as well. But when I say these things, I'm not suggesting that either one is going to be a jerk about it, but just simply that they value this thing, so therefore they're going to support it in the other person. I put help each other grow, so that's kind of what I was getting at with that. So I'm not going to. Oh no, actually, what I was going to say is that they complement one another. Now, Scorpio and Capricorn form a sextile, which is a friendly angle, but not a complementary sign, which are opposite signs. How I think they complement one another is that because Capricorn is an earth sign, they say water, moistens or nourishes the earth. Through the emotions, Scorpio can help Capricorn, almost come to life. Sometimes Capricorn is very, very dry. Having somebody who's more emotional can make a person appreciate things at a deeper level, maybe open up the heart chakra if the Capricorn is very, very detached, and they could have inner planets in Aquarius, which will make that even more the case. With Capricorns, Scorpios can learn how to chill out more. It's funny that I'm saying Capricorn chilling out. What I mean is not necessarily take things personally, not get emotional. Earth signs really value logic. So they're always looking for, okay, if I have a problem, how can I, resolve this problem? What practical steps can I take? Sometimes Scorpios may get so emotionally overwhelmed that they find it hard to think straight. They find it hard to come up with those kinds of solutions because they're kind of in crisis mode. And, for Scorpios who may have, gone through trauma, and of course any sign can go through trauma, but I feel like certain signs like Scorpio and Pisces in particular may have had very dramatic events in their life, and this can lead to, in adulthood, having post-traumatic stress disorder. And, with that comes an overactive nervous system, which kind of like goes into that survival mode, sometimes when it doesn't need to, every little thing, overly reactive. And so the Capricorn person can be like a rock. And it's funny, literally, Capricorns rule geology, I think, and so a literal rock. So that can be very grounding for Scorpio. So they're not going off emotionally, and thereby when they go off emotionally, or you go off emotionally, then you might not be thinking straight. You might be acting on emotion. So let's see how this might not work. On Capricorn's end, Capricorn might be too cold for the Scorpio. Capricorn, like I said, might want to view things logically. And, if they have a lot of inner planets in air, or if they have a moon in air or earth too, then they might resent or be repelled by Scorpio's intense nature. Capricorn can be the workaholic, and Scorpio might feel like they're being neglected, like they're not getting enough face time with their partner. And I put down Capricorn can be too materialistic, and it's very important. I don't think that Capricorn is a sign that is more likely to covet material things. I think the problem is that Capricorn wants to believe that they have arrived. That's part of their evolution is, their success. And if they feel that there is, and that goes for the things that they own. So can Capricorns fall prey to this, status consciousness? Yeah, I think so. Because it's, having, the right car, or having the status symbols that can make them feel like they have arrived, that they are at a certain level in society, that people will respect them in that way. The 10th house is not only the house of career, but your place in the world. And that's where the status comes in. And Capricorns, if they are going to get a status symbol, it's not going to be frivolous. If they buy a car, I don't know what the latest in car is for status symbols. But whatever that car is, let's say it's a Range Rover, and it costs, $60,000. I don't know how much those cars cost. But they are acutely aware that everyone will know that they bought something that cost $60,000. That's not even on the table. I mean, that's not even off the table. That's like a done deal. But they will also want to buy something that has lasting value. They don't want, and also that has practical value. So I don't think that they're likely to buy like a Maserati or something. I mean, a Ferrari. I don't even know if that might be like a dated reference to a sports car. But those kinds of cars, because they might not feel that there's any kind of point to it. I was going to say unless they have a hobby with it, but a lot of Capricorns might think that hobbies are frivolous, and they want to do things that they feel are productive, that are going to lead to, them ascending in their career or their daily life. It's funny, I was just thinking about a time when an adult that I knew, who actually, now that I think about it, was born on the cusp between Capricorn and Aquarius, but I think this person was actually an Aquarius. But really, that influence from Capricorn might have been present. Who now that I think about it, I was just a teenager then, but who showed me I guess it must have been a sports car, because the door, when it opened, it kind of like flew up or something like that. And I had no, I mean, I'm one of these people, it's like, I'm not going to be impressed with something unless it's something that I care about. And so I was oblivious to that. And who knows how much that car cost? I don't know, but it's just kind of funny because I'm sure the person was, maybe just on a slight level showing off, like, hey, look, I have this type of car. I mean, I don't think cars just kind of like open the doors open, towards the sky. So that must have been a sports car type of car. But to me, it was impractical to have those kinds of doors. It didn't make any sense. So it was more annoying than impressive to me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But then again, I don't drive, so I must be out of the loop. Those kinds of things can be kind of like that with Capricorn, it's not to show off. Well, it is to show off in a sense, to show that they have arrived, to show that they have this status in society that's very respectable and successful, but not materialistic in the sense like Taurus, which might be just buying things for the sake of buying them and, being too much of too much consumerism. That's not how Capricorns roll. But that doesn't mean that that's not going to still rub Scorpio the wrong way, because Scorpio is a spiritual sign. Okay, we're all spiritual beings having a human experience, but some signs are more associated with the spiritual than others. And, all the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, are all, I was going to say earthbound. And I don't really mean that, but I'm just saying it to say it, meaning that they are connected to things of this world. And that isn't a crime, but for them, spirituality can be can be kind of difficult to navigate, because there's that sense of, it's intangible. So it may bother them that there's not something that they can hang on to physically. Now, this is where rituals come in, where, I'm thinking in organized religion, you have in the Catholic Church, you have the incense and the votives, the candles that, these are kinds of like the rosary beads, these are tangible things. And the same thing, it's kind of similar to Hinduism, because they have beads, they have incense. Yeah, now that I think about it, they're like, they even have like something with candles, I think. I mean, where they kind of wave the candle over your palms or something. So that's kind of wild. Or was it camphor that they wave in front of you? I don't know. But it reminded me a lot of Catholicism, come to think of it. And also paganism and shamanism, because these are earth religions that, they may really resonate with. It would be fun to do a survey to find out what percentage of pagans are earth signs, sun and earth particularly. Scorpio, rules the eighth house, which is about, it's about metaphysics, about the occult, and so that would include astrology and the tarot. And so Scorpios are connected to, that's why I say spiritual, they're connected to these matters. And because of that, there may be this tendency to really have a soulful type of an attitude towards life. And then it might rub them the wrong way if the Capricorn person is an atheist, or at best an agnostic, or in some cases, very tied to the earth. Maybe they're a science cultist, where they think science has all the answers. And this is why, Albert Einstein, I mean, he has some great quotes about God and how it relates to science. So, but anyway, that might be kind of a bone of contention. And maybe the Capricorn person thinks the Scorpio person is interested in that stupid thing called astrology, or, tarot cards. What is this? What about the crystal ball and all that stuff? And just be like kind of cynical about it. And that's another thing that Capricorn can be cynical. But I think Scorpios can be pretty cynical sometimes too. So maybe that's something they have in common. There can be power struggles. These are two signs that are very strong in their own right. Scorpio through Saturn, through that 10th house, through the career, wanting the career stuff. And Capricorn, oh, did I say Scorpio? Capricorn through the 10th house and all that stuff. Scorpio through being a survivor, through being, through walking through the fire. So the two of these signs are not necessarily going to, Scorpio's a fixed sign, so they tend to be stubborn. Capricorn is a cardinal sign, and they tend to want to call the shots. They can do so in the workplace. They can be very much connected to being like authority figures. I can't think of the term, but the supervisor or something like that, rather than the subordinate. And so when you get two people like this together, where one is a fixed sign and one is a cardinal sign, the fixed sign may resist the kind of dictatorial attitude that may come from the cardinal sign. And so it could be a little bit of this power struggle type of a dynamic. There can be a lack of communication, I feel. I feel like Scorpios are very secretive with their feelings, maybe their thoughts, and Capricorn is just too focused on other things, not necessarily their emotions, and that might do them both in because they're not sharing their feelings, or kind of maybe trying to ignore them, and then all of a sudden it gets to be pretty bad, where they've been just shoving things under the rug. Then I put a few things for Scorpio. I'm not trying to pick on Capricorn, but, I already alluded to some of this. Scorpios can be too intense, where they just live life, in such a kind of like extreme way that can lead to the Capricorn person being turned off and feeling like there's too much drama, there's just too much whatever is going on. I mean, Scorpios can have 9 lives, have different, dramatic events in their life during their lifetime. And a Capricorn person may not want to deal with that kind of situation because it might be very, dramatic, but not in a good way. The Scorpio person can be too emotionally demanding, and I also put being too suspicious, and it's kind of like that goes hand in hand, because one of the Scorpio's person's worst nightmares is somebody betraying them, somebody cheating, somebody abandoning them. The 8th house that Scorpio rules is also the house of death. And some of them may have been traumatized by the death of an important person in their life when they were young. And so any perceived loss can be felt in that way, and it can trigger those old feelings. And so the Scorpio person it's a form of possessiveness, but when it specifically relates to cheating, it can get really obsessive depending on how imbalanced the Scorpio person is. And that might include checking that person's computer log or checking, their history on things, just kind of like making sure that the other person is flying right. But some people might not take too kindly to that. It may feel like it's a violation of their privacy. And also that it makes Scorpio look bad. It makes them look like they're insecure, or like obsessive. And so the other person may just naturally back off, not wanting to pursue a relationship with somebody that they think is trying to control them on every level. So, like I said, that would be an imbalanced version of Scorpio. But anyway, that's what I have for you, and I hope that you resonated with it. If you would like a relationship reading where I look at both of your charts and I see what's what, and you give me the scenario, what is going on, and then I can give you some insight based on the chart. The link to that type of reading and my other readings is below. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye.